All right. Good morning. Good morning, GM, everyone. It is another beautiful day. To have a beautiful day. In fact, it is beautiful here in Chicago. The sun is shining, 75 degrees. Just an incredible summer day. Welcome to another episode of Fomo Hour. This is episode 189. Today is Wednesday, August 28th, 2024. No fro today. That was my fro impression. Enough of that. We've got Mando on with us here as always. Mando, GM, how you doing?
GM guys, how are you?
Doing fantastic. I was just telling Logan, I'm ready for school to get started. So my daughter is back in school. My son is not. He doesn't start till next week. So I've been running some daddy daycare every day after the show. It's been a lot of fun, but I am ready for his school to start next week. And get back into the fall routine and lock in a little bit more, as the boys in the trenches like to say. Folks, you might recognize a new face if you're on the stream. He has been with us on FOMO Hour once before. You may very well recognize him from the Lucky Lead spaces that we used to run every day after FOMO Hour together. Folks, we've got Logan Hitchcock on with us here. He is the editor-in-chief over at Lucky Trader. I'm not really sure there are many folks out there who have followed the NFT and or Web3 space closer than he has over the last 3-4 years. So excited to have him on. He's going to be pitching in for the next several shows while Farouk is out helping us with that NFT meme Web3 content. So Logan, Jim, how you doing?
Hey, good morning, Tyler. I'm doing well. Excited to be here.
Is audio a little?
Yeah, Logan, you're cutting out a little bit. It was good back in the studio, so maybe
sometimes it does this when we go live.
Try it again.
How about
now? It sounds like the same.
Same, yeah. Maybe leave and come back. Sometimes it. I mean, I've been in this position so many times. Sometimes the third host, it gets hurt.
Yes, maybe exit, try to get back in. While we wait for Logan to do that, folks, what are we talking about today? It was a busy day of news. So we're going to start with Mando's market report, as always. Hopefully find out why is everything dipping. Then Telegram, that it stopped producing blocks. It seems like no one even cared or seemed to notice. We saw Robinhood add Salon support. Sun Pump flipped Pump Fun on the day, much to Justin Sun's delight. We got Donald Trump launching a new NFT collection. We got Magic Eden launching their own Pump Fund for NFTs. Machi is back with a pre-sale, and Pac-Man is endorsing this one. Plus, we will do our Arbitrum update of the week, and there's some juicy headlines in there. It's a solid docket. Very busy day of news yesterday, so we've got a lot to get into. So why don't we just get right into it, Mando? Let's kick it off with your market report.
Who is the man, macro daddy of the land? Can you dig it?
GM, everyone. So, God, what happened? We really fell out of bed, it felt like. Bitcoin hit all the way down to 58K yesterday. ETH is just, God, 2,400 it hit and then bounced. And then Salon, I think, went down to like 140 area, 142, and then bounced. But not a great day. We've bounced a little bit, nothing sustainable, but we're just right back to that 60K area that we've been hanging around for weeks now, basically since the start of the month. And basically for the last 6 months. We were at 60K on the 26th of February. We're at that same level again today. So haven't moved for 6 months, guys. Everyone not having a great time, but it is what it is. Bitcoin dominance continues to rise. Actually, it's gone up to 58, roughly 58% right now. So it's not been great for a lot of that altcoin season that people were calling for. Just another false dawn, it felt like, which has kind of got a lot of people frustrated. In terms of specific headlines, like crypto sold off and stocks didn't really do much. Stocks were okay yesterday. We've got Nvidia earnings today, which some people are saying like could cause a wobble in stock. So I don't know how crypto will react in that world. But yeah, we have been, the divergence between stocks and crypto has really grown since the start of this month. Stocks bounced basically back to unchanged, and crypto is still down a decent amount from where it was, like 70K on Bitcoin when they had that dump earlier this month. So I think people are getting a little bit more frustrated about that too. Like, why haven't you got your money in tech stocks? I do think it will turn around, but people are getting increasingly annoyed. In terms of Telegram, Telegram was still one of the main headlines. They did stop producing blocks, but there has seemingly been a lot more diplomatic pressure put on France. There was a headline out today that Macron had actually invited Durov for dinner, which I thought was pretty funny. And then he gets arrested at the airport. Macron said he's got nothing to do with it. And then the UAE seemingly has cancelled a big order for fighter jets, which would be in billions of dollars. Well, at least halted it until Durov gets out of prison. So I haven't checked what the poly market line's saying today. Like, surely his chance of getting out has increased, I would imagine, since that headline.
I was just looking. Let me pull this up.
I guess it's 1 day less as well, right? Like, so
yeah, that's the problem.
It's pretty high.
Why is this not on the? Oh, I'm on the new page. Let me go to the homepage.
Oh wow! Telegram founder Durov released.
Wow.
I've just seen that headline.
Just happened. It's up to 94%. Yeah. Wow.
There you go.
Wow. there might be a free 4% for those who are following. It's only at 96. Oh, now it's at 97%. You got to act fast.
Yeah, he's been released.
Man, huge news. I would. That is not what we expected to see. Oh, now it's down at 92. Are we sure?
Well, it says it's been released, but then I don't know if that means if he's out of custody. He could be still under house arrest, right? So it's now going to 50% chance. You know what I mean? Like, he might be released from custody is quite a big difference than under house arrest.
Yeah, the terms of the bet, sure.
I don't know what that means. But yeah, he's been released, it looks like. That's just it.
So be careful betting this one, folks, until we get more concrete news. But
yeah,
good news, I think. In general, yeah. Perhaps I've been surprised with how Ton's been trading. It's back at $5.70. With the network went down for 6 hours.
Well, it went down because of the dogs meme coin. It wasn't to do with Durov. It was to do with dogs. So they had a pretty well-known meme coin that was getting released on Binance. And then I think when that got released, it then took down the chain because they just got overloaded with transactions. So I think that's what it was linked to. It wasn't actually linked to like Durov being in prison in any way. But yeah, not a good look. Definitely not some good timing for the Tom blockchain for that to happen. But yeah, things are rallying on the back of that. I don't know. I mean, when it came out that Macron had basically invited him, doesn't look good for Macron. Right? Like, that's entrapment, right? So pretty funny. Yeah.
And the $80 billion jet deal block from the UAE seems like, I mean, that's pretty big. Pretty big.
Yeah, not small. There was some news that he'd had his phone tapped by France and the UAE like together or something like that since 2017. Like, I saw that headline out as well, which I thought was interesting. Like, this guy's been under investigation for a while, it seems. Yeah, Durov's phone hacked in 2017. It says the joint operation codenamed Purple Music hacked Durov's phone due to the UAE's concern over the use of Telegram to recruit operatives and plan attacks. Durov was like, yeah, so seems as though this may have been planned for like quite a long time, but it could be entrapment, you know, like the fact that if he was invited by Macron, but it seemingly has already backfired. There was some more, like, let's say, more macro headlines. It felt as though, again, there was some talk about Iran about to attack Israel, so I didn't know if the sell-off was maybe linked to that. The US said that, and we've traditionally sold off a lot when that sort of stuff happens. So maybe it was something to do with that. There was, other than that, it was all kind of good stuff, if I'm honest. Like, there's been a MakerDAO rebrand, but that's not really market moving stuff. but there was some news that the Nasdaq is going to be pitching now Bitcoin ETFs. I think BlackRock had pitched that before. That could massively increase the volumes and activity going on in the Bitcoin ETF again. It was the first outflow in 12 days or 13 days from the Bitcoin ETF, but it wasn't ginormous. But yeah, I was surprised. I woke up this morning, I was like, what happened that we hit 58K? And it felt like a lot of people had that exact feeling. It was like crypto just sold off by itself. And maybe we'll find out later.
That's what made it so confusing, right? So I was checking stock futures and everything was basically unchanged. So it wasn't markets like across all markets. It was just crypto. And then I don't know if you saw this. So this is the headline. It's been circulating. I don't think we have all the details yet, but Binance has blocked the crypto in some Palestinian accounts. The initial headline was that they had blocked all Palestinian holders. They came out and clarified that it was users in Palestine tied to known terrorists, and it is in line with their general AML, anti-money laundering policies. So we still know the full story, but that news was kind of breaking right when it was dipping. So I didn't know, perhaps it was related to that. I'm not sure what that would cause a sell-off like we saw. We also saw what ARKB had $100 million in outflows yesterday. So that killed the Bitcoin ETF streak.
The sell-off happened when the Bitcoin ETF flows were announced. So I think it was after that was announced, then you had this dip. So I assumed it was to do with that. I think the Binance story that had come out yesterday morning, but then it kind of had been resolved by later in the day, and then seemingly came up again. So I don't really know.
Yeah, that's gonna be another one to watch. I saw it start to get some chatter on the timeline. Sir, we've talked about this. I think this is kind of your thesis, but Cleo, he updated some of his predictions. For one, so he walked back his Bitcoin dominance. His Bitcoin dominance had topped thesis. He walked that back and says, no, he was wrong on that. And then he also said, he drew out his charts saying slowly but surely closing in on the end of our time in the 50s, 60s. But basically he's saying we go up and down until November and then up only after the election. So it seems to be that is becoming maybe a little bit more consensus. But like October is historically a very green month for crypto, for Bitcoin. So perhaps, we'll see it sooner than that. I think another macro headline here for crypto, Robinhood has announced a deeper integration with Salon. So Robinhood Wallet added support for Salon. This means that any Solana tokens can be self-custodied within the Robinhood Wallet. Plus, you can now do sends, receives of any token across the Solana blockchain. So I think that was somewhat big. We'll see if the Robinhood traders, convert from YOLO options to Solana meme coins here in droves. But perhaps that is opening the door.
I think they re-added it, right? They've gotten rid of it and then they re-added it. It sounded like. Okay, they got rid of it around like the SEC charges, and I think they re-added it. So this was kind of like them walking back a decision they kind of made before.
All right, that's good clarification. And then they also infamously sold everyone Solana at like 16 or something. So perhaps some salty traders
took it off at a bad time. The other headline, which is breaking right now, is that the SEC has charged OpenSea or given OpenSea a Wells notice, which I think is now doing the rounds. Kind of half known, I think. A lot of people had said that this had already happened a while back, but it seems like we got information about it now.
Yeah, I'm just seeing this. So this broke right before the show, 17 minutes ago. OpenSea CEO says MT Marketplace received Wells notice. They're pledging $5 million to help defend creators against the SEC. SEC threatening to sue us because they believe NFTs on our platform are securities. So the SEC is calling NFTs on OpenSea securities. Devin Finzer, OpenSea CEO, he's saying we're shocked the SEC would make such a sweeping move against creators and artists, but we're ready to stand up and fight. I guess so, Mando. So you're saying there was some chatter about this? Like I hadn't heard anything. So like, do you have any other context or info on your side about how long this may have been brewing?
When we heard earlier in the year that a bunch of you remember like there was a round that the SEC sent a bunch of Wells notices to tons of different companies in crypto, and that we wouldn't know who they were.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people mentioned OpenSea at that time, but I don't know. This may be when they're going public with it, or maybe they just got it. It looks like that Durov headline might be slightly different as well. Telegram founder and CEO Pavel Durov has been released from police custody and is now being transferred to court. So I don't know if he's going to be charged, and I don't know if that means he goes under house arrest, or if is that even him being released? I don't know what Polymarket's saying about that right now. It seems 77%. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, so back to this market. So it's bouncing all over the place. Logie pointed this out for us. So the fine print of the bet, transporting Durov to another location of custody will not resolve to yes. If he's released from custody by resolution date but remains in house arrest, it will resolve to yes. But that's not where we're at, right? So it sounds like he's just going to court. So I don't know. Is the no still the live side of this?
I would say no. Yeah, you talk, sorry, Logan.
Is my audio better now or no? What the heck? Sorry.
I don't know. That feels like it could resolve to no to me. Like,
yeah, I kind of like the no side. This. Yeah, it's back down to 70%. So it got as high as 93. Yeah, so you gotta be careful betting the news when it comes out to it's plummeting. So back down to 64.
It definitely feels 50-50 as an odd now. I would bet the no on that.
So maybe this is a good seg to another story that has a very interesting Polymarket bet, and that is Trump NFTs. So yesterday we got the bombshell announcement from former President Donald Trump. I'll just play a clip from the video, which was the announcement. Even beholding some Bitcoins, that was my favorite part of the video there. So this is, I had called it his third collection. I missed the mugshot edition. So this is actually Donald Trump's fourth major NFT collection drop. So for a TLDR of the set, they are his digital trading cards, just like his prior NFT collections. They're priced at $99 each. That's very interesting because the total supply could be up to 360,000 cards if there is enough demand. They're minted from his site directly. The cards will reside on Polygon. Secondary is closed. There is no transfer or additional resale until January 31st, 2025. And these came with some big incentives. So buyers of 75 and or 250 of his cards got perks like dinner with Trump, or a private cocktail reception. That seemed to have caught the eye of a notable personality in crypto Twitter, being Thread Guy. So we saw this kind of breakout live if you were on crypto Twitter. So we saw the NFT collection drop. And then if you scroll down, you can see some of the variety of incentives. So if you buy 5 cards, you get these gold branded Trump sneakers. Buy nine cards, you get 2 pairs of sneakers. Who wouldn't want an additional pair? 15, you get a little bit more. But then where it gets juicier is at 75 or 250. So if you, with 250 cards bought, which is $25,000 roughly, you get 2 tickets to an ultra VIP dinner with Trump and a friend. You get 2 VIP tickets for a cocktail hour with President Trump as well. So apparently, again, this caught Thread Guy's eye. So he went in and bought this, and now there is a live Polymarket bet on will Thread Guy interview Trump before October of this year. So an important detail of this bet. The dinner, I want to say, is being held September 22nd. So the dinner will take place in this time frame. It's just a matter of will Thread Guy be able to land the interview here.
18,000 bet. I love it.
18,000 bet. Well, it's going to be a lot more. I'm probably going to bet this after the show. So let's talk through it a little bit, because this is an interesting one. The market will resolve to yes if footage of Donald Trump answering at least one question asked by a Thread Guy is released by September 30th. Otherwise, resolves to no. So that opens this up to a lot of different possibilities. So this is not a sit-down 90-minute podcast with Trump. Like, in fact, Malcolm Degoz was able to pull this off at just a Trump rally by asking him a question on film and getting a Trump response.
Yeah.
So that this bet to me kind of comes down to, is Thread Guy going to be in the room? It seems like yes, if he's telling the truth. And I don't think he's lying about it. To me, it's going to come down to, are they going to allow cameras? If they allow video inside this room, I think he's a favorite to get one question answered. If he's got a private dinner and a private cocktail hour with Trump. What do you think? Should we be looking at yes on this? The market doesn't love it yet.
I bet, yeah. I bet yes on this. Yeah, for sure.
8-1. Not a ton of liquidity. So every $200 is basically moving this up 1% here. So this is going to be a line that's going to take some time to get much action into. The Trump cards themselves, were you surprised to see him launch another NFT collection mid-campaign?
No, not at all. That seems very standard for Trump. He's going to make 35 million. I saw that if it goes through, right? Like, why not? You know, he's bullish for Bitcoin, right? Like, if you've got some Bitcoin and you want to go after your man, then feels like this might mint out.
Well, that was going to be my question: is how many of these do you think will mint? So as of this morning, when I checked, we had about 17,000. So minting has slowed down. It looks like we're right around 17,400. That means about 300 have minted in the last 2 to 3 hours.
How many is it total?
360,000 total can be minted, but I believe they will likely cut the mint at some point.
Yeah, there's no way this mints out.
Prices have gotten to like 45, 46,000.
5% have minted so far, basically.
Yeah, so he's already made 1.7 million though. Even if it's just 5%, he's made 1.7 million on the collection already. 917 owners have minted 17,000. So we're basically talking about, the average is 200 NFTs per wallet. If I'm doing the back of the napkin math right here. So I guess everyone's kind of going for the dinner almost, or there's a lot of folks pursuing the dinner. So maybe Third Guy will have some competition. Logie, are you back with us? Have you had a chance to, or any reactions to the Trump NFT collection drop?
Well, I'm going to try. Can you hear me?
Yeah, much better.
Yeah, it's working.
Okay,
now.
sorry about that. I just ditched the mic for right now. Wild. All I can say, really, regarding Trump. I'm sorry, I didn't catch any of what you folks would have said about it, so try not to repeat. But sorry, go ahead. Were you going to lead me to a question?
We walked through the Thread Guy interview, as well as just the basics of the NFT collection itself. Perhaps we'll get your thoughts. Are you going long on, or yes, on Thread Guy landing this interview? What do you think?
Yeah, my initial reaction was no way. But given some of the terms here, just recording Trump answering one question, I mean, the other DeGods member, right, that kicked off all that stuff from earlier this summer, that would have resolved to yes. Correct? So in that instance, I mean, I feel like, I like Thread Guy. I feel like this is something that he's going to kind of put on his back a little bit, having this market out there. And he's going to find a way to get it resolved. Yes. Whatever it takes.
I think so too. It's going to end up being a nice $25,000 investment Not cheap, not a cheap buy-in, but if he lands it, probably well worth it. So we got into NFTs. There was a lot of NFT stories going around yesterday. So another big one was out of Magic Eden. I call it the pump fund for NFTs. It's not exactly that, but it's kind of that. So they launched this product. It's called Mint Terminal. They're describing they've effectively aggregated all the different types of minting platforms into their own terminal. They're calling near instant minting. As I understand it, I saw Wally posting about this as well. So if there are any primary mints happening, they will pull those in to their site. So you no longer have to worry about going to external mint sites. You can mint those NFTs directly through Magic Eden, which I kind of like, right? It feels like it removes a risk vector from the calculation of minting new NFT projects. But Logie, curious for your reactions to this one. Is this what we needed? Do we need pump fund for NFTs?
I like this. I like this a lot. It's a little bit different, as you mentioned. It's more of an aggregator versus just a pure creation platform. But one of the things I think was really great about Pump.fun is kind of like a democratization of access to meme coins for everybody. Like beforehand, you kind of had to be able to source them via random tweets or a person you happen to follow. This puts it all in one place, which I really, really like. Right now, access is what? Base, Polygon, ETH? Is that it?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, the mints, like I've been scrolling through, the mints that are available, nothing's really jumping out at me, but that's, not too dissimilar from the Pump.fun experience thus far.
Exactly. So I don't think we're going to get to a world where we've got the boys in the trenches minting dozens of NFTs per day. But I like the aggregate feature. And I think they continue to build and ship. So it's bullish for Magic Eden ahead of their potential token launch, which is now one of the main events on the
Tyler,
horizon.
Did you see Magic Eden, the ME token got added to Whales Market this morning?
Oh, I did not see that. So do we have what's this thing trading at?
When I looked this morning, maybe 3 or 4 hours ago, there was about $8,000 of volume, and I think it was at 0.1, so 10 cents. Looks like maybe it's changed a bit since.
15 cents, $138,000 in volume. But we don't know what the conversion of ME tokens to diamonds is in any capacity, right?
Not that I'm aware of. Nope.
Yeah. So I don't know. If you're buying this token at what are your assumptions? I kind of have always wondered that with some of these pre-markets, but exciting action nonetheless. We'll see how this token trades. Hopefully good news for those who are expecting hundreds of thousands or perhaps even millions of tokens. On yesterday's show, Jeep surprised us with a Punks derivative mint. We started the show with it, this Peanuts collection. It ended up being the 4th highest NFT collection traded by volume yesterday. It minted for 0.005 ETH. It was, I think, public, and they tripled up. They're at 0.016. So not a huge gain by any means, but a little bit fun. Perhaps a sign that we are back, that a derivative collection has at least been a winner here. Logie, curious, did you mint these? Did you get any of the Peanuts?
I did not mint. I tuned in yesterday to watch you guys talking about this and had to do a double take. They're fun, I guess. I don't have a really strong opinion on them. I think this is, say, higher effort than some of the Punks derivatives, we'd say, and it deserves maybe a check mark for that. But I'm not going to be, I don't think, adding Peanuts to my portfolio anytime soon.
Man, I think you're on mute.
Is that a 10x since we were looking at them?
It's like a 2x.
2x.
So they're like 0.007 when we were talking about them. They hit like 0.02, 3x. I think this is a sober reminder of where the NFT market is in August 2024. In the heyday, this is a collection that could have run to what? Half an ETH? 1 ETH? Maybe. Launched at the right time with the right momentum. So we're not there yet. But hey, at least some positive action on the board. I couldn't believe how high it was, this trading comparative to everything else. So now it's down to 5th, but really only the 4 majors are ahead of it in daily volume, which is another reminder of, how low the daily trading is on the ETH NFT leaders. But a fun one. We'll continue to track. I'm not sure how much longer that story will go. Big news out of the Pups token. So this is one close and dear to both Farouk and myself. Logan, maybe you as well. So Pups, they are opening a new bridge to Salon. So Pups had their first big parabolic run when they opened the bridge for the BRC20 to Solana. That got Ansem in the door. And then eventually Arthur Hayes. Token ran from, 5 to 10 million to 900 million at peak. It has since round tripped all the way back to a $30-40 million range. They've done the token split, which basically rendered the Solana token untradeable because it didn't go through the 100-to-1 conversion. My understanding of this bridge is it will allow you to do that. There's a migration component allowing folks to kind of do a backdoor conversion. So now the Pups token Rune will be tradable on Solana once again. So Logan, maybe I'll toss this one to you as well. Is this going to be enough to save Pups or after this news?
Save
Market
Pups.
Life?
I'm not sure to save it, but it's a step in the right direction. This essentially gets rid of the BRC20. Is that right?
I think that's how I understand it.
Or at least it makes it obsolete. I mean, not everybody's going to do it, but there was a lot of fragmentation here. A lot of, just too many details, too many little things that people would need to do to be able to trade this effectively. So smart people did really well with the ARBs early in the day. But, for your casual holder, Pups holder like myself, too many things going on. So yeah, I like this. Get to a more simplified version of Pups. And reestablish sort of the narrative around the token, which I think was lost for quite some time. This sort of like rabid community around Pups. So hopefully that comes back up 11%. I'm happy with that.
Well, let's make Pups great again.
What's the market cap now of Pups?
47, I think I saw.
Yeah, 47
right?
million.
It's not so bad.
So I'm still up 50% on my initial buy at a $30 million market cap. But down 80% from the peak where I could have sold this thing.
I've seen worse. In this market. Don't
Yes. Yield token down 99% and then down another 99%. Well, this is a good seg to another token. I know, Mando, you're going to jump in a few, but would love to get your thoughts on this one. So I laid out the bull thesis for this Machi token. So Machi, notorious crypto Twitter founder, influencer, I don't know what you want to call him. He's back. He's doing another pre-sale. His last pre-sale, he raised something like $30 million that the token effectively sped run to zero. So you would think there wouldn't be a ton of appetite for this one, but you would in fact be wrong about that. So he introduced this new Machi token, literally his namesake. He's calling it the unruggable meme coin on blast, and that's because it's powered by Baseline Markets. Registration is starting soon. A few details: $5 million cap, $4 million to the LP, $1 million to leverage buybacks and burns. No team allocation. He lays out all the blast communities which will be eligible for the pre-sale, and then how to get into it. I think what really made this one interesting for me, I'll see if I've got the tweet. But Pac-Man Blur effectively endorsed this one. I did not see that coming. Let me see if yes. So here's his tweet. He retweeted Machi and said, Pump Fund showed the power of innovating on token launch designs. Baseline's token launch mechanism, extremely novel, and I'm excited to see it in action. So he's effectively endorsing Baseline Markets more than he is Machi, but still, it seemed like you could interpret this as an endorsement. I laid out my bull case. Mando, what do you think about this one? Are you going to go?
That was a dangerous tweet, I feel like, from you. Like, you must have known when you hit send that you were going to get some blowback on that one. I saw it. I was like, oh. I mean, if Machi's going to launch another meme coin, this seems like the best way for him to do it. So maybe. I don't know. Is this like the only meme coin now on Blast?
So Andy is still over on Blast, but there's really
Okay.
not much. Let's take a look at the board.
I think I've seen Pac-Man retweeting like the Pew Pew token again, or maybe that's the Blast account.
Oh God, there's nothing over 10. So Andy is down to 8 million.
So maybe you do become the biggest meme coin on Blast. You
A
know?
little more.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It feels so. To be clear, this would now mean 4 million ETH is just locked up forever. No one can ever touch it.
I think so. I'm not super well versed in how the baseline markets work. I'm still trying to understand. Like, so how does Machi make money off this?
I don't think he is. I think he's probably just doing this for the fun. But like, I also don't know if like just sending 4 million ETH that no one can ever touch again as well. Is that good? It feels like ETH is going to have some more value over the long term than whatever this is. So
yeah,
you know what I mean? I don't. That's why my first thought when I saw this was like, "Fuck, we're just going to be." It's like they did this for NFTs for a bit, right? What was the NFT thing that Ovi did? Blasts, whatever it was.
Oh yeah. Logan, do you remember the name of the minting
The
site?
Blaster.
Blaster, yeah.
Blaster.
This was like Blaster, but like they burn the keys, so we just ETH's just stuck there forever now. Like no one's ever going to get it off.
Unless you just turn all the NFTs in, right? And then effectively everyone gets their
Right. That was
ETH
fine
back.
though. With Blaster, that's the way it worked. So if you turned in the NFTs, it's fine because it was all like it was a refundable. But this just feels like no one's get that money's gone forever.
That is an interesting twist for this. I don't want to come out like I'm pitching this, and I'm in no way tied to this. I caught some comments on that in the replies. Not a shock. It felt like it's a highly liquid coin in Blast ecosystem, and the downside was perhaps somewhat capped, which is what made this one potentially stand out. So we will see. Not an advertisement in any way.
It's a good question. Like how much like Sol is now just like locked up forever in Pump.fun coins, right? Because they burn their LPs too, but they're generally much smaller. Like remember when the RTR coin went, the burn LP was like crazy, and I was like, oh, okay, well, they must be serious because you know someone put in serious money into that LP. That's also lost forever. But yeah. I don't know. Maybe there is just like a fucking ton of Solana and ETH now, which essentially never getting out. So
bullish, I suppose. Less overhang. Logie, are you buying the Machi pre-sale?
Man, I'm almost embarrassed to say that I'm interested.
Ooh.
Yeah, the irony here in naming it Machi, unruggable meme coin. I mean, I don't know. It is interesting, like that. You know that meme from "I think you should leave." That I said it was interesting, or I thought it was interesting. That's where I'm at here. You know, I was reading more about Baseline. If you remember, their Yes token, I think is like probably the highest market cap token on Blast.
It's up there. Yeah,
it's the one that came out. I was just reading. I mean,
275 million.
Yeah. So it says, I'll read this very quickly. Baseline eliminates the need for traditional market makers since the token controls its own market making operations. It can maintain a unique liquidity structure that helps facilitate positive price development. I'm not the tokenomic expert nor technical one, so can't comment too deeply here, but it seems like that's what's being deployed here with the Machi stuff as well. Facilitate positive price development. I like reading that. Yes. So we'll see. I'm interested. This would not be something I'm like, putting my full weight behind for the unruggable nature of the coin.
Yeah, well, very fair. I'm sure we'll report back on it once this is live. Well, that's a pretty good roundup of the big stories from the day. I'm sure we'll follow up more deeply tomorrow on the OpenSea Wells notice as more info there circulates. I want to get into our Arbitrum update. We've typically been doing this on Mondays. We're doing it on Wednesday here this week. For starters, folks, money has just been moving one way regarding Arbitrum, and that's it. No outflows for the entire year. I didn't really realize this until I saw this tweet from OX Matt, and they were averaging $415 million per month. So certainly bullish for Arbitrum. We've been talking about some of the reasons why. We've been talking about their orbit chain tech and how that's being used. And now we've got a pretty interesting new use case here from Corn. So Corn is the first ETH L2 using Bitcoin as its gas token. So it calls itself the Super Yield Network. They have just announced a large seed raise, $6.7 million here from Polychain Cap, Binance, and more. So the way it works, Bitcoin in is the hybrid gas token here. It's backed 1-to-1 by Bitcoin. The key difference is it's not bound to a single custodian. The tokenomics seem to be inspired by Curve tokenomics. So for anyone who recognizes that back from the DeFi days, and of course still around, the yield comes in two ways. Let me see if I can scroll down here.
Yeah.
Two core tokens. Bitcoin in is the hybrid gas token that is generated via network fees, and then Corn is generated via native network emissions. And then Corn stakers get to decide where that yield goes. And it seems like it is kicking off here soon. So this is a very interesting one. You can go into this thread here from the Corn team, their handle use_corn to learn more. They've got a nice diagram here of the corn crop circle. So you can learn more about how that yield actually works. Logan, curious if you had a chance to dive into this one at all. Were you ever around? Did you mess around in the Curve DeFi ecosystem? And/or does this jump out to you at all?
Maybe a little bit, but nothing extensive. This is really interesting. I mean, a notable raise, of course, right, by like notable investors. That's always a good sign. Doesn't mean everything, but a great sign. And just giving people more ways to utilize Bitcoin. Which I think we've been yearning for, right? With Ordinals runes. I mean, advancements in every way imaginable in the last year or so. And I think, just further unlocking what you can do with your Bitcoin. Like the Bitcoin that I have doesn't really do anything. This provides an opportunity to gain yield from that Bitcoin that's not really doing anything. So super interesting. Great to see like a team that, has raised notable money from notable investors, signaling some sort of confidence. I'm, definitely keen to learn more. I think also, Tyler, there's like an airdrop tied to this? Was I reading that at the bottom of this thread?
Oh, interesting.
Am I making that up?
If so, I may have missed that.
Maybe I'm making it up. I hope I'm not.
You might be. So we'll have to.
I'm sorry.
Oh, wait. Now the juicy details for our pre-mainnet airdrop. Set your reminder for the live kickoff event where they laid out the details. So I did miss the kickoff event that took place last week. So we'll have to dig in and find out more about how that airdrop works. But you're right. It comes at an interesting time. I think more casual crypto Twitter users, folks who are on the timeline, have been dabbling in ordinals and runes. So more folks have kind of spare Bitcoin to play with. An interesting potential use case here. And of course, the Arbitrum tie-in, it's their orbit chain tech being used to power this. We got another interesting story. And Logan, I think you perhaps are a little closer to this one than I am. But Avagache, I think a lot of folks know that name, that game. They introduced Geist. It's a new L3 built using the Arbitrum Orbit tech, using Base for settlement, Alchemy for their roll-up partner. What do folks need to know about this one?
Yeah, so this is cool. This is, as you mentioned, using that Orbit technology, looking to create sort of a members-only exclusive type chain for gaming. We know gaming is a massive potential onboarder. I think many people still stand convicted in that. Finding the right way to deploy it has, I don't think we found the right successful answer or formula just yet. And they're looking to go about things just a little bit differently. So kind of members-only, more exclusive, looking to almost, I shouldn't say control who's using the change, but just isolate and thrift out all those bots and the Sybil farmers that, things like perhaps no shade a ton, right? But like some of those blockchains have unfortunately notoriously garnered and removed potential rewards for real users. And so this is a really interesting thing. It mentions in here membership right, is limited by design. Approach mitigating unbounded Sybil. Invites are limited, benefiting real users. So I'm not exactly sure what the dues nature is here. There is a ghost token. This is going to be open, of course. The chain is going to be open to other games, I'd imagine. But we'll see what the dues are. I'm just really interested in. We're seeing a lot of these sort of like more creator, more app-specific, more niche chains. Of course, that's what this stuff enables. Interesting, to deploy it in this way and try to limit to real users, which really difficult problem to solve.
It feels like the opposite approach, right, of what we typically see for games, where you just want to cast wide nets, get as many players as possible, and then perhaps start to filter down more power users from there. They're kind of going the opposite way and starting with the core group. I'm seeing one Avagache equals one invite, so you're going to need one of these to participate.
Yeah. And you can go I'm sorry, Tyler, you can go right now and I think drop an email and mint commemorative NFT. The link, I believe, is present at the bottom of that thread. That sort of like gets you on the list to stay in tune with things when the Geist mainnet actually launches as well. So if you're curious or want to know more, you can head there. But I think it's really cool. I mean, we've talked about the country club model. I mean, those words have been uttered a lot in this space. It's worked in certain ways with NFTs in particular. It hasn't necessarily worked for blockchains, right? Like that hasn't been necessarily attempted yet. So this is a really ambitious, but also a really interesting and hopefully successful, whether it be proof of concept or, full rollout, will be really, really cool.
Interesting model. It's got base support. It's got Alchemy support. It's got Arbitrum support. Players plugged in for sure. This is going to be an interesting one to follow. We saw a couple other headlines. We won't spend as much time on these, but Senko, so they've introduced a new game here. Welcome to Strong Buns Beach, using that Arbitrum Orbit chain tech, and then Apes and Bapes. I guess I missed exactly what this collab was for season 1, but this is season 2. ApeCoin and Bapes and Bored Apes are collabing, and the Arbitrum chain Arbitrum tech powered this one as well. So Arbitrum, they keep cooking over there. Every week we've got more and more to talk about from them. So I'm sure we'll have even more to talk about in next week's update. Go check out any of these projects if you are interested. But folks, I think that's it. That's going to be our show for today. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of FOMO Hour. We will be back tomorrow to recap the NVIDIA earnings. Hopefully crypto's higher by then. Who knows? Expect some volatility after hours today when those earnings release. We'll hopefully dig in more to this OpenSea Wells Notice story and everything that breaks here today. Folks, have a great Wednesday. Go make it a beautiful day. Goodbye.